What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garage. As always, you'll get tired of hearing me say that. We are always out here doing great things, fun projects, and cool stuff. So today we are moving on to the next mod on my Hyundai Accent. We're going to be installing those fog lights I spoke about in the last couple videos. And they are going to be taking the place of these little plastic black fender features here. It's gonna look great. Without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get this project started. First things first, to make this project easier, since we're gonna be taking off the front bumper, I'm gonna go ahead and back up, lift this vehicle up on the little tire stands to give us better access underneath. Right, so we now got the car up on the wheel ramps. We are ready to start taking off the bumper. One thing I want to note, I have my little evap cooler on right now, so if it's hard to hear me, I do apologize. It's always 102 damn hot, as you always know. Regardless, let's go ahead and get started. So as far as taking off this bumper, I'm not going to show it in this video. If you want to know how to take this off, I'll put a link up in the corner right here to a video that I did in the past on how to take off this bumper. But just to save time, like I said, we're going to go ahead and move on past the bumper removal. We now have the bumper off. It's good to go. I've set over here on the side to get ready for us to start installing the fog lights. All these are actually connected to the back side of the bumper. All these different accessories, the lower grille, upper grille, little center reinforcement, and of course the little plastic overlays for the fog lights. So that's exactly what we're going to go ahead and be replacing. There's simply 4 screws which will correspond to the fog lights. So with that being said, here is actually the entire kit that I purchased off of eBay. I'll be putting a link below of where I purchased these. There's plenty out there, so I'll show you the ones I got. Once again, you can pick whichever ones you want, but these are just the ones I picked because they were the first ones I saw. Comes with all the harnessing and the relays so that I can hook it up to this little existing switch here. One thing I want to do to make it even more custom, I don't like the silver trim. I don't like the chrome housing. And if you look really close, there's only this little trapezoid section which actually has the reflectors for the lights on these fog lights. So all this other chrome is not needed, of course. To get rid of it, like I always do on all of my vehicles, I'm going to vinyl wrap it. I'm going to do a chrome delete, put some black vinyl over the entire edge of it, and then only cut out the center part, which is where the light is, just to once again go with that black and white look that I'm going for. Let me go ahead and get one vinyl wrapped up. I'll leave one regular just so you can kind of get a better idea of what I'm doing. And there we go, guys. We got it vinyl wrapped. So now you have a better look at what I was talking about. Only portion that is the light, or the reflectors rather, is this small little inner area there. And yeah, it looks great actually. Got rid of the chrome, nothing but black, and it's gonna look beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this next one. Then we'll get ready to install them into the bumper. Alright, so now that we got both fog lights vinyl wrapped, they're good to go and ready to install. And we're gonna make our way over here to the front bumper. Let me go ahead and take these 4 screws out, and then you'll simply screw in your existing fog light right into those same 4 spots. And there we go, guys. You saw me get them installed, and they are in, and they are looking amazing. Just like I wanted. The black accents, getting rid of the chrome, it just looks beautiful. And this is only the beginning. There's so much more to this front bumper we're going to be doing. So now that we got these guys installed, we're actually going to run back to the vehicle. Before we actually put the bumper on, we're going to have to go ahead and get the electronics hooked up, or pretty much the switches, which is that relay harness over there. So I'll go ahead and grab that, come over here, and we'll show you how to get that installed. So I went ahead and got the harness that we have that came with the kit. Kind of looks like a bunch of rat's nest right now, but I'm just going to get this sorted out and we'll kind of talk through the connections. Starting with the main part, which is this little relay here. This is what's going to allow us to draw power from the battery and then just use the switch as an on-off source, just so we're not splicing into an existing power source and then draining that portion. It'll have its own independent source of power. See, you have the positive red wire with the inline fuse. That's what's going to be wired up directly to the battery. Same thing here with this ground wire. You can go straight to the battery, or just find a chassis ground. Make sure it's a good chassis ground. Then you have this white cable. So this white cable comes all the way down, all the way around to this connector here. And this connector itself also has another set of red and black wires popping off. This is pretty much our switch. So normally it'll just be this white wire which would connect up to the switch, which would give you the signal in order to say, all right, let's turn this circuit on. It also has the red and the black, and that's simply to add power to the switch itself for this little on-off switch, red off, green on. And going backwards up the cable, it's again come down to the other end of the relay, which then doubles up into the heat shrink portion of the harness. And that heat shrink portion actually goes to where your fog light connections will be. So it splices itself off. Here's one, which would be on the closest side, which in this case would be driver's side, and then it continues off into the other long leg, which would be the passenger side. I'm gonna work backwards, get these guys where the actual fog lights are gonna be at, then start zip tying the harness all the way along the crash bar and up to the driver's side of the vehicle where the fuse box is and the battery. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done, and then we'll move on to the inside portion. All right guys, so we got the engine bay wiring done and ready. So to kind of show you what I did, right here there's a little bolt that was sticking out, and I simply put a nut on it and then attached the relay to it as well as the fuse. So if you remember, there was a few wires coming out of that relay, one being the power wire. Power wire comes down and around up into this side. You can see the red wire, and spliced into the existing grommet on the positive side. The negative cable, wrapped it around this negative cord several times, and then simply put it up underneath the bolt for that ground on the chassis. You had those two cables for the fog lights. They come out right here. I have them wrapped in some convoluted tubing. They make their way around, down, up underneath the headlight. I went ahead and tied them to the existing harness that's already down here. There's one stick out for one of the fog lights. Followed down on the bottom on the splash guard here. Zip tied it all the way across. And one thing I had to do, because it was just shy of being long enough to fit between the two fog lights, was to expand it. So simply, as I do in all my videos, just use some solder splice and some extra wire. Added about 1.5 feet just so I can have plenty of slack. But that's pretty much it for the engine side. We have the switch side, which is this one white cable, which will come through. I'm actually going to feed it through the firewall. Then on the inside, that's where you'll end up plugging up the switch, which is actually the one hanging down there. I'll probably just use an existing power source, just a switched one, so it turns on and off with the vehicle. And then of course, just again, normal chassis ground with the black one. Let me do that real quick, run it through, and I'll meet you inside. So we made our way inside the vehicle, went ahead and pushed the connector for the switch through the firewall, through the existing grommet, and simply I just kind of routed the wires up to the top here because I wanted to use this existing panel here, or this existing switch cluster, which only has 2 things occupied out of 5. So what I did was I popped out one of the blanks in the bottom left corner and then fished the little switch cables through, and then simply just stuck it on with the adhesive that it comes with to that top one. And that'll make for a nice clean look, or at least as clean as possible. As you know, there was 3 connections to this. 1, which is the switch, 2, which is the power and negative wire, to turn on these on-off lights on the switch. There's actually a chassis ground up underneath here to the left, which I will tap the ground wire into. And for the power, I'm going to use one of those little add a fuse or tap a fuse, whatever these things are called. You can get them at any AutoZone. I'm going to tap into our existing fuse box, specifically the one right there to the right of that black connector that we already got in the fuse box. That one is the accessory switch there. When the car is to the on position or to the accessory position, these little lights will turn on and work. But if the car is off, of course, these won't have power, so they'll be off. There's that second tap of fuse right there, which is the only visible wires. And then, of course, the switch, which is that guy right there. I'm going to go ahead and throw on the little fuse panel cover. Simply just clicks in like that, and boom. There you go. It's almost time to actually get it tested out. So we're gonna make our way back outside and install the front bumper. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the bumper is back on. We are back assembled. And now that I see it on the vehicle, these fog lights look amazing. They look great. That black vinyl surrounding all that chrome, getting rid of it, just matches perfectly exactly what I wanted. Now that we got everything hooked up electrically and got the front bumper back on, it's time to test. I'll go ahead and turn it to the on position. Immediately you can already see that red light is on, which means we are getting power to the switch. which is perfect. I'll click this button, this light should turn green, and we should be on out there. Boom. We've got green and we've got light, guys. There we go. Both fog lights are working. They are awesome. They are bright. Don't worry, these guys are still the regular halogen bulbs. I have some LEDs coming which will match the headlights, which are this color here. So then we'll have both the fog lights and the headlights matching this super bright white. But other than that, it is working. So just like that, everybody, you have now installed your fog lights on your Hyundai Accent any year from 2012 to 2017. This just looks beautiful, and it's gonna look even better once I get the white lights in there. I'm extremely excited. It turned out great. It turned out excellent. But as always, there's plenty more to come because I'm not done with this vehicle, nor am I done with all kinds of cool stuff that we got going on in this channel. So just like that, thank you for watching Everything Avon. I'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a good night.